Guys, it's Boris. I'm on the LFG Show. Don't forget, we have Contact.io coming up, the biggest and best show for call centers. If you're going to be in Denver, you need to use promo code LFG.
Let's fucking go, baby. Save $200. Put that promo code in. Get there, make a lot of money. See Boris and I, let's fucking make this happen.
We'll be there.
LFG fam, we just shot a fucking banger right now. I can't wait till you hear this shit. It's like next level. No one's talking about this. Shout out to our sponsors, because without them, this shit wouldn't be possible. Shout out to Ringba. Shout out to Adam Young, the paper call revolution. There's big, big money in paper call, whether you're someone who's a novice looking to get into it, whether you're someone's already doing it, putting up big numbers. Let's fucking do this, guys. Get the fucking book on Amazon. We're going to drop a link here. Take your shit to the next level. Let's fucking go. We're back, baby. Another episode of the LFG Show. This is another special episode. I got my man Boris Shvarts over here, CEO of Pitch Perfect Solution. I've known you for a long time, man. Well, it feels a lot longer than it's been, because we've come really, especially as I moved down here, it's been a little 100%. Closer. You know, but knowing you for many years, I think first time I ever met you was in Dubai at the Affiliate World.
Yes, it was Dubai.
And one thing I can say, man, is that, bro, you've always been doing well, but I feel like probably the last year in particular, you've just blown up, man. So,
yeah, knock on wood, man. Knock on wood.
Got to say that in business, right? So first and foremost, congratulations on that. Another thing you know is he's getting his haircut over here. Time is money, right?
Time is money. I'm always, well, first off, thank you for everything. I do know you, a while. In the industry, I feel like you've been, one of my closest friends, like in here since we started, and, we moved down, to Miami together. And I'm very grateful for you, bro. And yeah, this year has been amazing. And it's just all about, sticking to it. It took a while for my, like my model, to get like accepted by everybody. But it's definitely taken off.
Yep. So let's talk about the model. And first and foremost, I'm assuming everyone knows who you are, but there's gonna be people that don't know what you're doing. So can you tell everyone exactly what you do?
Yeah. I'm Boris Shvarts. I own, Pitch Perfect Solutions. We're an onshore call center. We're based,
one of the few remaining.
Yeah, we're probably, one of the biggest onshore call centers now. We have around 500 agents, currently. And our model is very different in terms of, like a BPO, because, we don't charge per hour. You give us data, we dial your data, we transfer to your partner. We have skin in the game because we only charge you per billable call. And you might say, why would I pay you $20 for a billable call when my payout is only $40 and I got to still pay for data and I'm paying for your dialer? Well, when you go to one of these offshore call centers, right, when you do the metrics and why I've been able to grow from, 1 to 2 to 7 to 8, to 10 partners now, is that my biggest plus is what I do with that lead. So your offshore, call center will give you one transfer per hour, and they will make you $40 an hour, like in revenue, because you got paid for that. Sorry, even less. Your offshore call center will give you, 1.5 transfers per hour, and the billable conversion is going to be, 60%, right? But if an onshore call center, like me, who's paid on performance, who has their agents in line every day at work every single day, we're doing 3 an hour and we're converting at 75%.
Huge. Yeah.
Your revenue per hour is now $120. So why not pay somebody 60?
Yeah.
You're making 50% margins. And, first of all, everything I have in my life and my business is owed, to Fluent. Fluent was the first company that gave me a shot at big scale. Because I don't want to alienate anybody, because you got to shout out to Mike Valenti. Because Mike Valenti, a lot of guys know him, beast in ACA, beast in Medicare. Mike Valenti was actually the first buyer I ever had. A lot of guys know Mike Valenti. I forget the name of his company now. You'll put it like in the edit. But Mike Valenti was the biggest, a guy I had at the time until I met Fluent. And they really, gave me the ability to scale and get myself to where I am now. So they believe in that model. It worked very well for them. It worked very well for me. And now more and more people have adapted that model. And I truly feel that sky's the limit.
Yeah, and then speaking of Fluent, publicly traded company. I mean, I think at one point their market valuation was $500 million, something crazy. So I think what you try to say, that you got the opportunity, Mike Valenti, right? Did well with him. Then it opened up doors with Fluent, right? And then you have more doors open up for you, is what it comes out to, right? Yeah.
The biggest thing with Fluent at the time was, and you have to understand, right? Fluent is a massively publicly traded company, right? Yeah. The call center that I was, like I had with them, we were only, 10% of their business, right? So when it comes to like stock prices and all that stuff, like that, Fluent's like, like a data company. Yeah, I'm sure the call center, like does well, but they're, you go to a meeting there and like you're going to where the World Trade Center was.
Oh yeah, that beautiful office, man. Yeah, place is nuts.
They're like top floor. Yeah. Like you need security to bring you up, right? So it's like when it comes in the grand scheme of things, I was just a little part. But what Fluent did was, my biggest thing is you have to give me data, right? So I was working for a publicly traded company. Like, what do you mean you're not going to give me? Like, you're worried to give me data? A publicly traded company was giving me data. Yeah. Because that's the biggest thing. Like, I'm giving this random guy from this random company I never heard about, I'm giving them my data, my precious data, which all dupes out anyway. It's all the same data anyway. Yeah. But I'm giving them my precious data. Yeah. Oh, wow. Like, he's been working with Fluent for 2 years and they're doing very well with him. I'm sure he's legit because Fluent's public. They have a lawyer in their office. Yeah. So they would have got rid of me in 1 second, right? So Fluent is the most integral part of my business. What
prompted you? So you started off in Canada, right? Yeah. With a call center there.
Yeah.
What prompted you to come to America to set up operations here? And my hats off go to you, because obviously it's expensive in America, right? So you gotta hire people, you gotta incentivize them. So I find like what you do, it's amazing, because I run call center. I have a call center myself. I know there's a lot of fucking moving parts, especially with 500 agents, man. So hats off to you for that. But like, what was what prompted you? Maybe that was like an LFG moment. I gotta get fucking moving. I gotta move somewhere, go back to US, get shit moving. Like, what was that moment? What prompted that decision?
Like everything that's ever happened to me in my career and my life, it's all relationships.
Yeah.
My entire model is based on relationships now, and the biggest thing for me at the time was, to get into this space, was Stan at Retriever. I went to high school with Stan. I went to middle school with Stan.
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah, I know, bro. I know Stan.
I thought you guys knew each other from the industry.
Nah, bro. I know Stan and the president of inbounds.com. Yeah. I know them since Stan and David. I know them since since we were kids in Toronto.
All right, we're back. We had a little technical difficulties with the haircut. You're looking sharp though, by the way.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're gonna drop the if anyone's in Miami local area, you want someone to come to your office, come to your house, cut you, your kids, your mom, your grandma, whatever. We're gonna put it on here. You're looking sharp.
Bro, imagine leaving like your house and going to a barbershop and sitting there and waiting. Like,
that's the worst.
Efficiency. I need somebody in my office every Friday morning in my office, and we're cutting hair. So I'm sorry about that. We have the buzzing and
no, it's all good. But so the question, or we're starting to talk about, is you moved from Toronto to the States, right? You're in Miami right now. We moved around the same time together. Like, what was that? What prompted you to do that and go from like vertical you knew nothing about to get into something like Medicare and insurance? Like, talk about that moment, 'cause I feel like that was like an LFG moment for you. Like, I got to get the fuck out of here, and then that caused your shit to start to move in the right direction.
It was everything, bro.
Yeah.
COVID. Toronto's done.
Yeah.
Finished. Like, worse than anywhere else in the world. Yeah,
they were strict as fuck, right?
Dude,
like,
we had
super strict.
I think we had longer lockdowns than China.
Wow.
We were locked down for like fucking 3 years.
Yeah.
And my wife's pregnant.
Yeah.
And the call center is not doing well that I had out there. And I never asked for the help, but I think it naturally came. And like, my biggest thing and the way I grew up was my mom, God rest her soul, she never let me not like be friends with somebody just because of like how they are, right? Like, I'm friends with the garbage man. Like, my best friend in Miami, like before you moved here, one of my best friends in Miami was my valet guy. Like I would
I
literally
remember
just,
seeing that the first
remember
time I
that?
came to see you. Yeah, you guys, they all seem to like you a lot, man.
Yeah, the valet guy was like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
I'm friends with everybody. And, the biggest moment for me was, Stan. Stan at Retriever, man. Shout out to Stan at Retriever. Everyone knows Stan, right? But I went to high school with Stan.
Yeah, I didn't know that, man.
Yeah,
I thought you guys just met through the industry.
No, I went to middle school with Stan. I know Stan
Wow.
since I was, 10,
Crazy.
11 years old, right? Stan, he was the coolest guy, one of the coolest volleyball players in school, but
Volleyball, I can't. That's
yeah,
crazy,
can you
man.
imagine? Yeah, now
He'll
he
kick
does
your
jiu-
ass too as a Thai boy Thai.
Now he does jujitsu. Back then he was like a weirdo volleyball guy. But the
That's
thing
great.
about the thing about Stan is, and I said that about my mom to say this, that like, Stan's like a techie, nerdy guy. Like he's into tech and like Naruto and like Dragon Ball Z and like that stuff. And like I'm into like basketball and I'm into, I like to pop bottles with my friends. Like I like to, like party. And he's like he likes to watch Dragon Ball Z, but that doesn't matter. Like I was still friends with everybody. And people would say it's like it's like an opportunist. It's opportunistic, but like, why is it bad to be an opportunist? Why is it bad to be an opportunist?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be bad to be an opportunist. It's as long as it's done in like a positive way. And circling back, like, I was friends with Stan, and he came into my office one day because we randomly see each other, and he, he's like, oh, why don't I introduce you to a guy I know in Florida who also has a call center, who's looking for more agents. You already have these agents here, and David Brook, the CEO of Inbounds, he's the president of Inbounds.com. He, he's also my childhood friend.
Yeah.
We all grew up in the same neighborhood. So, he was already in the States doing it. And I was like, yeah, like, you know what, maybe it's right. So, I met, my old partner, like Eric, who at the time, he was a shark. He was the man. He taught me, I don't know what Medicare was. I have free healthcare in Canada, right? So like, now I know what part A and B is, but like how I grew up, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And, Stan put us together. He was that glue, and I owe him everything. My early, guys that helped me, Eric, I owe them everything. And, me and Eric didn't work out, right? But nothing because of business. It was more like his personal. He's older a bit, and he ended up giving me all his agents for free. Which he gave me all his agents for free, and then I kept all the Americans, and we hired up. Now we're at 500 employees, and everything is already done. But relationship based. If it wasn't for me being friends with Stan in middle school, I would never be where I'm at now.
Yeah, and I think if you ask him why he agreed to do that with you, is because you obviously did something right. It's like those little things that add up. Your story reminds me of me because that's how I cracked into solar. I had a buddy of mine, and who actually, I was his supervisor in the call center. I didn't own this call center. It's like, I was 25, 28. This was a big club promoter in New Jersey. I was like, I really went above and beyond for the guy. He became one of their best reps. He became a supervisor and a manager. Like 6 years later, he got an opportunity to grow a call center in solar. And I was helping him every step of the way. He'd call me at midnight. I'm like, hey, this is what you do. Then I started selling him leads. 8 years later, I'm still selling that company leads, right? He's not there anymore, but like he blew that call center up. They went from doing 14 million in revenue to 500 million a year. And I was their top lead provider. I've probably done 8 figures with this group, right? But that guy's name's Adam Gugino. Shout out Adam. But that was like, you talk about Stan. I had known Adam for a long time, but he'd always say he spoke really highly of me. Dave's the man. He's going to do the right thing. All these other lead vendors, they're ripping you off. He won't do that. And I did exactly what he said. I treated them right, and boom, one thing led to another. So it's kind of like the same story, just different vertical, different country, but same shit.
I literally think that that's how everyone should start.
Yeah.
And also like circling back to like Fluent and Mike Valenti, I didn't make money for 6 months. I had a call with everybody in the industry. Everybody. I spoke to Brandon Bowski before he was, the big guy at Minerva. I spoke to Eric from Quote Storm. 6 months of just calls.
Yep.
Jonathan Akeem, owe a lot to him. He used to be like at North Star. He's at ISI now. Calls, mentoring. I can't do anything for you now, but go to Dubai. You'll meet somebody there. I can't do anything for you right now, but you should go to Vegas because you'll meet people at these shows.
Yeah.
Right. And, that's how it happened. I did not make a penny for 6 months, and I wanted to quit a lot.
Yeah.
Because I came from a whole different world where, You know, I didn't come here, like I didn't start in the industry, you know, with a job. I came with a mortgage.
Yeah.
I already had a mortgage and a pregnant wife.
Yeah.
I had to do things quick.
Yeah.
And I threw my whole motto is I literally threw everything on the wall and one thing stuck, and that was Fluent. And if it wasn't for Fluent, again, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. But I had to take those calls.
Yeah.
I used to take calls at, you know, 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, right? I remember, you know, I remember being on the phone with people that I see at shows now, and like I don't even know if they remember. Like I don't know if Eric from Quote Storm, he's elsewhere now, but I don't know if Eric from Quote Storm would remember that I used to be on the phone with him at 8 o'clock at night. I don't know if he'll remember that. Like I know Bowski does, right? Because he's still my friend. I still talk to Bowski all the time. But these guys remember, and a lot of them like remember, you know, how it was, because I was a pest. I'm not like I might act like a cool guy at the conference now.
No, you're on top of your shit.
Yeah, but if I need the business, I'm there. I'm flying to North Carolina. I'm walking right in your office if I have to, right? And yeah, it took a lot of that to prove the model out and for people to give me a chance. And there's a lot of people that have sold now and are out of the industry, you know, whether it's, you know, Anthony or these guys that all sold, but you know, Stan put me in contact with these guys, and he's like, hey, listen, you know, he has a good call center, because the call center was good. Stan wasn't just introducing me to people for no reason.
His reputation on the line too.
Yeah.
If you're not delivering, they're not going to like, fuck you, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
I had a hard time. It turned to a good time, but I think it's needed to bring me to where I'm at now.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great story. And you told me some stuff. I know a lot about your history. I didn't know about the very beginning of that, about those 6 months of not getting paid. I mean, that's what happened to me. And I think it's a parallel to a lot of entrepreneurs. You're not going to everyone sees, you know, what's going on now. You know, they'll look at you, see the car you drive, the watch you're wearing, or whatever, but they don't see those fucking 6 months. They don't see that struggle. You talking to your little wife like, oh, fuck, you might have to go back to work. I was in the same position myself, right? You have to go through that crap, man, to get to where you're at, man. And it takes time. And that's when most people give up. Whether 90% of people give up, and then that's where they get fucked. So yeah, hats off to you for that, man.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And like, look, you know, everyone's like scared of stress. Like stress is bad for you. Don't stress. I don't want to play with time. God forbid anything happens because of stress, but I stress a lot. I have a lot of employees. I tell my employees all the time. I have like 10 senior staff that I deal with on a daily basis. Obviously I can't talk to every agent I have, right?
Yeah.
But I have like the 10 that like, you know, they run my company basically. As far as like the agent, I tell them all the time. I say, you know, Brandon, who's my CTO, who's one of my best agents, he's now my CTO, right? If the company went under tomorrow, right, you would hate me because you lost your paycheck. Yep. Your couple $100,000, your salary, you lost it. Boris is a loser. He fucked up. I don't have a paycheck. But Brandon, I got to go to sleep that night. And those 500 agents I have, they have families, they have kids. There's 1,500 to 2,000 people that depend on me.
Yeah.
Every single day to wake up and make sure that partner A is buying calls.
Yeah.
That's my job. So if I freak out in the morning meeting and I say something that I shouldn't say, I have a lot on my plate too.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all about how you use the stress, right? The stress is supposed to motivate you. This isn't for everybody. Managing people is a very hard thing to do, right? So you need to be able to take the blessings that you've been given, but you still gotta work your way around a lot of shit. Bro, you know, me and David share offices. I don't know if you guys know, we're in the same building. If I'm not yelling on my side, David's yelling on his side. So you need to stress to make money. Yeah. That's how I feel.
It's because you care. And I got to tell you, we ran some campaigns together, and I referred some people, like heavy hitters, to you, and they say the same thing. I mean, I saw that when I worked with you, and that's probably one of the reasons why I made that referral, because I know these were so heavy, big time people. I'm like, listen, this guy's not going to let you down. He's on top of this shit. It's like the old school stuff. It's stuff that people forget nowadays, especially the younger generation. Pick up the phone. You would call, hey, how are we doing? Hey, this is what's going on. You were updating all the time. And apparently that's what you're doing with this group too. And they love it. They're going to love it. He's on top of his stuff, right? So when you said about pestering, I laughed because I remember that when we were running campaigns together, but it was good. I love that you did that, because that's what I do. It shows that you care. Because if you didn't give a fuck, I mean, then you're not, listen, those 500 employees, there's a chance they lose their job. The more that you care, the more you stress, you're stressing because it's for a bigger good. It's for your family, it's for your sons, it's for their future, your future, our future, everyone's future, right? So it's all connected at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, you have to stress and you have to stay on top of your shit, bro. What do you mean? Like, people are giving me data, right? They're giving me data that they paid for. Like, they need these calls done. It's like you know, they don't want to hear that the internet's down. So what? Like, it's my problem.
Yeah.
So like all this stuff, like I got, you know, and for my revshare model, Dave, like it has to be the perfect storm. You understand? Like for this to work, I need data. The call center has to be open. The agents need to be at work. Retriever needs to work, right? The buyers need to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
For this to work, we all need to be in synergy. And I'm glad you mentioned that because me and you did work together in the beginning, right? And me and you fought. Like we didn't fist fight, but we fought on the phone. And we're friends. And it was messed up for like a week until we seen each other. We hugged it out and we laughed. But there's a lot of pressure. You're giving me expensive data. Why aren't I dialing on the data? I'm telling you that the buyer's not answering the phone. You're in Dubai. You're calling me at 6 a.m. I'm already I'm still sleeping, right? You had you had a few drinks. I had a few drinks, and we're not on the same page. But that's because the synergy's not there. That was great, right? And that's because the synergy's not there. So for a rev share to work, you need to have the perfect storm. And the account manager that's running my account, if it's a big company, right, that I'm working with, the account manager needs to be on the same page as my team. And if it's a smaller company, the data needs to be there at all times.
Age data, there's only a few months left of this. A lot of different ways to monetize data. Data is a very broad term. There's a lot more money in it. You already spent the money. Let's just say it cost you $10 for a Medicare lead. You make $1 million in sales, you really only made $100,000.
And you might not get paid by your advertiser.
What if I can get an extra 50 cents, $1, $2, $3 per lead in perpetuity? What does that do to my marketing campaign? What does that do for the stress of the profits of my company? A percentage or two at those kind of numbers are huge as moving the needle. So for us, what I love about age data, the hard part's already been done. Now it's just a revenue left for your company. What would the extra $10, $20, $30,000 a week do for your business?
Absolutely.
All of our big partners are making hundreds of thousands, if not millions a year with us. They're never going to have this gold rush again.
Yep, 100%. I'm glad you mentioned that too, because people are going to watch this show. You're going to get hit up for requests, or whoever on your team is going to hit up requests. But I want to know, what you tell them, what's the criteria for someone to work with you? What's your ideal client? Because this happens to me a lot too. Everybody wants to do business with us or with you or whatever. But truthfully, only like, I think it's 3 to 5% qualify, or it's a right storm like you're talking about. So for you, what is it?
The perfect client for me has a lot of data. Okay. The perfect client for me needs to have a lot of data. They need to have a buyer that has a demand, right? Because first of all, these calls get transferred on a rev share. So if the buyers aren't answering the phone, I'll turn you off in like 10 seconds.
Because you're losing money.
I'm losing money. It's on a rev share. If I can't make that transfer, I pay my agents on gross transfers. I don't pay my agents on billables. How do I tell a call center agent from Nebraska that he's not making money because the buyer didn't answer the phone? It's not, he doesn't give a fuck about the buyer. He doesn't know what the fuck a buyer is. He knows he gets paid hourly plus commission, right? So I got to pay on raw transfers. It doesn't matter. So the billable rate better be high, right? So I have some of the best billable rates in ACA history. Somebody will come to my office or have a meeting with me and say, yeah, we could start, we're at a 30% billable. I'm like, dude, it's not going to work out. You have to pay me $30 an hour. He's like, why? I'm like, because your billable rate's 30%. I pay on raw transfers. My billable rate's 60%. You want proof? Here's retriever. Go look at it. Right? Well, how is it? Oh, because we do warm transfers, right? The biggest hurdle I've had in this business, Dave, is the inbound revolution. Remember the inbound revolution? Scared a lot of guys like me and you, right? The inbound revolution 2 years ago was bad. Oh, Boris, man, I don't know. You're not going to be needed in 2 years with the inbound. Now there's fucking lawsuits and everyone's begging me for warm transfers because the inbound revolution turns out that the inbounds weren't compliant, right? Because transfers weren't compliant, but now the inbounds aren't compliant, right? So it's a perfect storm. So you need to have data, you need to have a buyer, you need to have an account rep on it at all times, because somebody needs to be watching the buyer side. I don't need to speak to your buyer. I have partners that I've had since I started. I don't talk to their account rep at SelectQuote, but Aragon's on that shit all day. I have a whole team in my Slack channel that are on their shit all day. Shout out to Alec, man. Aragon's the greatest, right? But if it's not like that, it's a problem. We need somebody on their side watching it all day, because they're giving me expensive data. And if I can't transfer it, they don't make money.
Yeah.
That's why it's a true partnership. A rev share is a true partnership. You want to give shit data to somebody and pay per hour, you know, you should just go offshore or go to a different BPO that charges hourly. For me, you want performance, you're paying more, but you're making more. So it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And that's why publicly traded companies use me, because it's not just them looking at their books. It's people, they have like teams that look at their books and they see what's more profitable. I don't got to tell it to you. I'm sure, Zeta, has people there that see, what's more profitable, offshore BPO or Pitch Perfect Solutions. And they choose Pitch Perfect all the time.
Well, yeah, the proof's in the pudding, obviously. You mentioned big names, and again, I made some referrals to you, and I told you they're really happy. And that makes me feel good, because I'm like, they know that if I'm bringing something to the table, they're gonna listen to me. It's like another notch under my belt, right? So everybody, at the end of the day, everybody wins. So and I'd say another thing about a lot of people are scared, especially in the call center world, to do a pay for performance model. So I think it shows confidence in what you do, that your shit is tight. And it's not like you came out of nowhere. I mean, you've been doing this for years and years and years, right? To get to this point, you got systems in place. You show me your dashboards. You show me your quality assurance. You show me. I remember we were in the beach a couple of years ago with our wives right before New Year's in Sunny Isles, and you were showing me all this stuff. I'm like, I love that you showed me that. You didn't have to show that to me, but you showed it to me, and you can't fake that. You go right to the URL. It's not bullshit. So, and I saw it firsthand. So, the proof's in the pudding. Like, there's a lot of the big saying in New York, money talks, bullshit walks. But you were showing me everything. We went on a hood, and I saw it with you. And then the guys that I referred to, I've seen the same shit. So again, that's pretty rare. And the fact that you can do it onshore, pay for performance, versus everyone is doing this hourly thing, I think it says a lot about what you're doing.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And like What If, for example, right? You're very close with them, and they're one of my biggest partners now. And it's the same thing, like you just said. I give you a login to my dialer.
Yeah.
Like, you log in, I'm have your personal data. You have to know that I'm not using your data anywhere else. You have to see my agent performance and talking about What If, because I'm thinking about it now, but it's not always easy, because they're used to working with BPOs hourly.
Yeah. But
then you have me and my team, Slack, no agent, no agent, no agent, no agent, no agent. I don't get paid for no agent.
Yeah. And
if I do get paid for no agent on a duration, my CPA is going to be high the next day, and you're not going to want me. I need to have a low CPA.
Yeah.
I dream about CPA.
That's awesome.
I dream about CPA. I have nightmares about CPA. A nightmare for me is like, I had a $400 CPA, and somebody wants to turn me off about it, right? My model, if I'm doing Medicare, or if I'm doing ACA, for example, right? My call center agents know I have quality assurance. If you transfer somebody over without double or triple confirming no Medicare and no Medicaid and no work insurance, you're gonna get fired.
Yeah.
There's no if, ands, or maybe. These are subcontractors. You're done, because every bad call is a note from the agents to Synergy's agent saying that we transferred over. I'll refund you that call.
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to do my job. So I put a lot of pressure on myself from the beginning to make sure that the partnership works. And sometimes it doesn't work. Me and you were talking about it, off the air, the biggest, how I grew so much in a year, right?
Yeah, because I was saying, I feel like you exploded the last year and a half, right? That's when you were like, psh.
So when I got Fluent, I was exclusive with Fluent. We never had the partnership agreement signed, but I was exclusive with them, right? I'm so grateful to them. I had people in my ear at the time, but I don't want to hurt anybody at Fluent, because it's true. If we're doing, because we're at scale, right? So if you're selling 3,000 calls a day, to a Medicare buyer, right, and then you start dialing somebody else's data, and it's going to dupe out, because data is all the same, right? And you start selling to a different buyer, you're going to start teetering CPAs, right? And the buyer's going to start knowing. So the biggest thing for me, and the worst thing for me, was when Fluent turned me off. So Fluent turned me off. Why? Fluent went through their issue, right? They had an issue, and they didn't generate enough data to give me anymore, because I do need a lot of data, right? They never turned me off. They said, hey man, when we finish AEP a couple of years ago, when we finish AEP, we're not going to be able to go into OEP. We're just going to focus on growing our internal. And at the time, bro, you remember this.
Yeah.
I was done. I told my wife she might have to go back to work, literally. And we just had a second kid, or she was already pregnant with the second kid. It was the worst thing ever because I had all my eggs in one basket. Everything, I was just them. And I don't know how or how it happened, bro, but it made me so much better losing them because I was able to come out. I came out of the closet, right? I'm out of the closet. Everyone knows that I'm a free agent now.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because now it's like, people are like, want me.
Yeah.
Like I was wanted again. Like I was like, wow, like everyone wants to work with me now. Like, oh, that's Affluent. That's the guy that had Affluent's call center. And I went from one partner to 8.
Yeah. And 8 good partners too. Not just like 8 whatever, a mediocre or whatever, 8 good partners.
Yeah. And my team knows very well. Every single partner gets a good morning message. Happy Friday. Let's kill it today.
Yeah.
I treat the same partners the same, whether it's, a couple $100,000 a month invoice, or you're paying me $1 million a month. Everyone gets treated the same. And if I'm in Jersey, I'll always reach out to whoever I know is in Jersey to grab lunch. And if I'm at a show and we have a table, because we like, how like me and my friends like to do it from Toronto, right? Everyone's gonna get the invite.
Yeah.
No one's gonna. I like to bring people together.
Yeah, I love it, man. So you mentioned you mentioned your buddies from Toronto, right? And you have a very interesting, very unique and unorthodox way of hiring people, like I guess like the C-level, right? That's what you would call it.
Yeah.
And you see that we talk about partying, popping bottles, or whatever. We party, I don't know, a lot of places all over the country, all over the world. And I didn't realize that, but that in that C level, that those people in your inner circle, they're all your friends, which is kind of contrary to what people tell you to do. Most people are like, oh, don't hire your friends because it's going to lead to this or lead to that. But in your case, it's only helped you out. Yeah. So I want to talk about that because I find that very fascinating. It's almost like fucking Entourage, man. You bring your whole crew and everyone's making money.
I modeled my whole life after Entourage.
Wow.
We all grew up. It's our generation. Yeah. We grew up. Listen, Toronto's a small city. It's a metropolis, right? But it's a small city. Everyone that I'm friends with right now these days, the circle gets smaller. Right? You know how it gets when you're older. You start making money. You start, But I have to have my people beside me at all times, right? I'm not a rapper, right? I'm not a kingpin of some sort but I modeled my company in the same way. And let me explain to you why. You go to a show, right? And you see you see a random CTO at a show, right? And they worked at one company, but now they're at a different company, now they're at a different company. That stuff's crazy.
You see a lot of that. Yeah.
That stuff's to me that's crazy. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? You're going to leave my company and go tell the other company how to make money the way I make money? That's nuts to me, right? If Amber leaves my company, right, my CMO, if he leaves my company, we're never speaking again, bro. What do you mean? We're childhood friends. You're going to leave my company?
Yeah.
I put you on this whole thing. Like, how are you going to leave my company? So as much as it looks weird to see Boris, Amber, Brandon, JP, right? To see the guys I roll with, to see my actual team, Pitch Perfect Solutions, my C-level team. As much as it's weird to like, yo, that guy's wearing like chains and like he looks like he's maybe shouldn't be here. I think people like me for it.
It's authentic, man.
You see, my competition, Travis is chilling with us. He's wearing Amber's chains and everyone's like loving it. And he's doing great.
Yeah.
He's doing incredible. Because what is a CTO, right? What is a CTO? It's a guy that's your CTO, it's your CMO, it's your marketing officer. What is it? It's a guy that worked somewhere, that learned how to do something, and he was promoted. But why not teach your friend that you trust, right? I have $2 million a month in payroll. $2 million a month I have to pay out every single month to my agents, right? I'm a Canadian call center, US call center. My employees are split down the middle. I get paid in the US, right? I got to bring that money I got to bring half that money to Canada, pay taxes in Canada on it. But then somebody in Canada has to take that money and bring it to Payworks and pay my employees. I'm going to trust somebody off the street to handle $1 million of my money? No way. It's my cousin Alex. Alex is. Alex pays all my employees.
Yeah.
Because if Alex steals from me, then at that point I deserve it.
Yeah.
Because it's my actual cousin that's stealing from me. Maybe it's entourage. Maybe it's maybe it's the way I'm thinking. But the best thing you can do in life, I was taught as a kid, is put somebody in the position to make money. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be flying with these guys on private jets, and I'm not gonna bring my childhood friends.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
I'm glad you mentioned that because you do a lot of that, man. I see. I always see we follow each other online, and I see a lot of that.
Guys, don't believe the private jet hype. Let me explain to you how the private jet works. Sorry for all my friends who are gonna look like cheapos right now. All right, look, you got a private jet. The private jet costs 40 grand, right? You put 20 guys on the jet. How much does that jet cost?
$2 grand.
$2 grand each, right? A flight from Miami to Vegas is $1,400 in business class, right? You're not going to pay $600 extra to take a private jet.
Of course, yeah.
And then
it's a great experience.
And then we're all fighting for the invoice to write it off anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, we're flying private, but we're paying a couple $1,000 each. Let's not blow it out of proportion that we spend that. No one's spending 40K for that jet, up and down. Now, look, that's how my circle does it. That's how my team does it. But I'm sure there's other companies that do it themselves. They get the whole jet themselves, right? Mm-hmm. Shout out to Ring, but they get a jet. They invite me. Shout out to to other companies that invite me. But I think the whole thing, like sometimes you go and you'll go, oh, there's the rich kids that came on a jet, bro. It paid $2 grand. Like leave me alone, bro. Like you flew to Boca and paid $1,400. Paid $600 more. I'm on a jet. Yeah, you wouldn't do it. You do it.
No, I know, but it's good for morale too. They do that. It makes them feel good. It makes them more loyal to you. Everybody wins at the end of the day.
100%.
And then you're on with other people you can do business with. I was on one of these flights with a freaking way under the radar media buyer. No one would have known this guy. He's on the jet. Boom. Now we're doing business together. So it's also that proximity that you get that you wouldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah. You meet. Yeah. You get. Well, first of all, you're 5 hours with somebody. You're on a jet. You're really, you're really close to them. You're gonna start talking about business, and it goes back to the same thing. Like, how can I be posting Instagram pictures on a private jet when I have friends in Canada that I could actually help and bring them to a new industry? I could actually help them.
Change their life.
And change their life. Yeah. How can I not do that when somebody did it for me?
Yeah. That's great. And that goes to show you, and the thing about business, man, there's no set rules, right? Most people would say, oh, don't ever hire friends, don't hire this person, that person. My wife has been instrumental to the growth of our company. People are like, don't hire your wife because maybe it doesn't work in there. So, but every scenario is different in what it comes down to. So maybe for 90% of people, hiring friends won't work. Maybe 95%, 98%, but you're one of those exceptions. You're one of those 1 to 5% exceptions where it does work. And I think because you have create this interesting dynamic where it's a tight circle in Toronto, right? And you were just really tight with these guys, always did the right thing. You're a people person. All these things add up to make that circumstance work. So just because someone says, oh, don't ever hire friends, I mean, you have that gut feeling. I would say, fucking give it a shot. If it doesn't work, it didn't fucking work. 100%. And then what if it does work though, right? And that's what business is. We're always trying new ideas out, right? We're trying to figure out, is this going to work? Most times shit's not going to work, but when it does work, my God, you just hit a fucking gold mine.
But you can't help everybody.
Yeah.
Right. You can't go and get your whole childhood circle, right? People are going to fall off. People have families, people have lives, right? But it's something. First of all, this whole thing is like I didn't pick up Amber or Brandon or JP out of the floor and come into a new industry and teach them and no, these guys brought something to the table, right?
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
So what are you going to bring to the table? All right. So do you know somebody? Yeah, bro. I know. I actually know this buyer. He's buying a shit ton of ACA calls. Word. All right. This is how you do inbounds. Go talk to this guy. We'll start a new company together. Boom. You're my CMO. That's how you do it. He brought something to the table. Yeah. I didn't just bring anybody in. Alex went to school for marketing, right? Yeah. Alex went to school for marketing. He is just my friend, but instead of working for, Procter and Gamble and make 60K a year, I'll give you 100K, come work with me and I trust you, right? Yeah. JP was, bro, because you haven't met JP yet, but my chief revenue officer, right? He was the manager of the TD Bank.
Wow.
That I would go to every day. And I would go there with my payroll and I'm supposed to do it there in front of them. When I just started, I had 30, 40 employees. So I would go and do payroll at the bank. Can you imagine? Because in Canada, it's different. You can't send wires on the computer.
Wow.
So you have to go to the bank and fund payroll. And JP used to grab, he used to grab the paper and be like, oh, I'll do it, bro. You can go. And I was like, wow, bro. And I used to always tell him, if you ever need anything, you ever want to leave the bank, he's a manager of the bank, bro. He's a TD bank manager. Listen, it's not the craziest job, but those guys, he went to school, right? If I give her an evening thing, let me know. And then it'll come to a point where I'll call him, GP, it's emergency. Please. Someone's going to come bring you a check. You need to cash it because I need to pay my staff. I'm in Vegas. I'm blackout in Vegas. It's 4 p.m. I don't know what the fuck is going on. You know how it gets in Vegas. The chandelier market is great, right?
That's a play spot, man.
Yeah. And then he called me one day. Yeah. He's like, yo, and he's like, I'm on a leave. I want to come work with you. Yeah. And at the time I was like, fuck, dude, another guy I got to babysit. Yeah. But it's been the best thing I ever did in my life.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Because I think you get good karma from it. I truly believe it. There's gonna come a time in my life though, for sure, where it can't be perfect, right? There's always those stories. Someone's gonna fuck me, and something bad's gonna happen, and somebody's gonna leave me. But it'll just be a lesson at that time. I'm ready for it. And if one of my best friends fucked me over and take data and rob me or do whatever the hell they do, it's me on the chin, because random people rob people all the time. So what's the difference?
It wasn't meant to be. You move on, right? That's the thing. We just keep moving on. Great stuff, man. Now let's get back to the call center in particular, right? Everyone likes numbers. I know we talked about this in Vegas. I think you were the first interview I did for the show, actually. Like, we did one of those short interviews. It's so funny how that,
for sure,
you have to be standing there, hey, let's do a freaking interview.
100%.
But I know you talked about thousands per day. What's the most volume you've ever done in a day in terms of transfers?
I did probably the most I did in a day was a couple of weeks ago. I did 10,000 billable calls in one day. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's a huge number, man.
Yeah. ACA transfers kind of changed a lot for me because Medicare. I'm an insurance guy. I don't do much out of insurance, right? I do a little stuff here and there, but Medicare. I do a lot of Medicare always. Medicare is always my number one, but ACA has gotten me to a bigger level where I can employ a lot more people because there's a huge demand for ACA transfers.
Massive.
Right now. And that's my biggest day ever, was 10,000 billable calls.
Wow. And I was just thinking about it as you were talking, one of the issues, we were both at Geek Out, right? A few weeks, I don't know when that was, a month ago in New York, a lot of nervousness in the air about ACA. People owed a lot of money for it, and people were like, what the fuck? That's what they had all their eggs in one basket. Like you did at one point, like I did at one point, right? And like, what am I supposed to do? So now you're going to see, what happens, who adopts, who shifts properly, right? But as I was thinking, as you spoke, I think one of the issues happened in these crazy ads and whatever. People were trying to create volume. And what happened was they started doing dumb shit. So the point is that when you're doing it with a transfer, you weed out, you sift through all that the garbage shit, right? Someone's not interested or pissed off. You get rid of that stuff, and then you're delivering someone that, listen, it's not going to be perfect. Not all those 10,000 were perfect, but the percentages are going to add up for the buyer at the end of the day because you're doing all that stuff. So that's really where the value comes in. That we're talking about saving time with the barber coming here, whatever. You're saving a lot of time from having to do all that fucking heavy lifting.
Yeah, bro, like imagine you owned a Medicare agency, right? And the calls weren't that weren't being properly done. These people are clicking ads. Like, they're not, like, bro, like, you're a media buyer. Everyone knows, obviously there's huge lawsuits right now for it, right? Inbound, media buyers, not everybody was running what they were supposed to be running, right? So how many old people are sitting on Facebook every day that really actually want Medicare Advantage plans or really want to go into the marketplace for ACA, right? At the end of the day, bro, a lot of these ads that went to shit, a lot of these ads weren't compliant ads. And people were calling in and asking about shit that has nothing to do for Medicare Advantage, right? It has nothing to do about, and just because it's inbound, it's compliant.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? What about what they clicked, right? So I don't care about how anyone makes their money. I wish everybody makes the most money ever. But regulations coming down on inbound calls and creatives in general, is probably better, for the market in the grand scheme of things. I believe that this could all be done, it could be done like a right way. And so could inbound calls. Inbound calls is never going to die. And in my opinion, what I believe, it could be different than what, a guy like Adam Young would believe, or a guy like, like Trauma would believe. I believe personally that there will always be, outbound dialing.
Yeah.
I personally believe that. And if it's different, I'll adapt too. I'll figure out what I have to do. But my business is mostly dialing outbound on leads, right? Yeah. The regulations are probably going to change this year. It's going to be hard to dial on co-reg, but we'll do one-to-one consent. Yeah. It'll cost more leads. Buyers need the calls. They'll pay more.
I was going to ask you about how you're going to adapt. And going back to, I was federal DNC list got passed in 2003 or 2004. I was a bond broker. And I remember getting out of college, I went to NYU and I started to make some money. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? I just get out of college, finally started to make money. And they passed this federal DNC. People were freaking out. But bro, it kept 20 years later, it's still going on. You're right. There's always going to be a form of outbound dialing, one way or the other, whether it's a single consent or whatever it is. But the fact is that you got a good name in the industry. You're making it work the way it is now. You're not going to stop making it work. Maybe it becomes more expensive to generate that lead, but whatever. As long as you're still making money profitably, people are going to do it. They have to adapt. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and like, first of all, there's no rules out yet, so everyone's just like, nothing's been decided. There's lawsuits going on. There's a lot going on, right? So I think everybody should just wait, and like, just like last year when the rules do come out, how are you going to adapt?
Yep.
There's always going to be people that fall off. It's life. People are going to fall off. People are going to change. And hey, just because you were a great ACA media buyer, it doesn't mean that you should stop working just because ACA might not work for you anymore. Go sell, Ozempic or something.
Yeah.
Go sell Ozempic ads. Go do Ozempic ads or go do debt. There's always new verticals coming out, and I can't wait. I'm really. It's so cool how like this industry is like, no one like understands it. Like, you go to dinner, like you can't tell people what you do, because I don't even know what I do. I don't even know what it's called. Is it Medicare marketing? Am I called?
I say digital marketing, man. That's what I say. It's like a lead gen, digital marketing.
Yeah, lead gen.
And people don't even know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, people are like lead gen. Yeah. You're Miami and lead gen. There's always something new coming out, and there's always products coming out, to help. My very good friend, David. And Leo at Inbounds, they're working on some revolutionary stuff.
Yeah, I just interviewed Leo for the show. It was amazing.
Call. Yeah, that's only going to make me better, right? It's going to hurt people, right? It's going to hurt people.
The ones that are doing bullshit.
Exactly, but it's going to police the industry. You need that.
Yeah,
you need somebody to come in and police, because if not, they come in one day, the feds, and they don't give a fuck who does it the right way. They shut it all down. Yeah. So wouldn't you rather do it the right way? And when it comes to the one-to-one consent and all that stuff that's changing, everyone that I've spoken to, as far as my partners currently and the big aggregators out there, they're all working towards the one-to-one consent. And I honestly feel, and I truly believe, not being like a positive guy, because I'm not really that positive, to be honest with you.
You're a realist.
Yeah, I'm a realist. Yeah. I truly believe in my heart that this will be better for me, and it'll be better for you, and it'll be better for data as a whole.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad you brought up another thing. So you got this regulation, everyone's preparing, we're waiting to see what happens. What's your thoughts about all this AI stuff going on, and how would it affect your industry?
AI. Yeah, it's funny, AI. A lot of my friends are in AI, right? Brandon Bowski has a great AI company right now. A lot of the guys are in AI. There's a lot of good stuff to come from AI. In my opinion, without alienating anybody, and people are going to message me and say, oh, you talk shit about my company. No. Let me ask you, David, all right? When you order a pizza, David loves pizza. Everyone knows that. Yeah. When you order a pizza, right? And the AI comes on from Domino's, you press 0 to talk to a real person?
Well, first I won't call Domino's, which I don't fucking, you go to New York and Jersey, I don't understand why why is there so many fucking Domino's there and Papa John's? Like, who the fuck's, or that gotta be people that just moved to the country that don't know shit, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's pretend it was like, it's fucking Prince Street Pizza.
Whatever. In New York. Prince Street Pizza is not going to have the AI though. I mean, like a big company. You know what? Fuck the Domino. Fuck the pizza. Because David's like,
I'm getting pissed off right now thinking about Domino's.
He's the Dave Portnoy of the industry. The guy who brings
Jordan Roban too. Both.
Exactly. So let's just say you're calling, UPS to track a package. Yeah. Actually, though, like, answer really. Do you listen to that avatar, the AI, or do you press 0 to speak to a real person?
No, I always, most of the time, 80-90% of the time, I press 0. Yeah.
All right. So imagine you're literally switching your Medicare benefits. Are you going to speak to AI?
No, I'd rather talk to a live person. Yeah.
So that, to me, that's my opinion. Maybe it'll become 1-to-1 and you'll never know. And maybe it'll help me. Then I'll develop my own AI company, or I'll partner with Brandon. I'll use his AI agents, right?
Yeah.
But as of right now, where the market is, I personally feel that my business is better with humans, right? That's how I feel. Yeah. Without alienating anybody, because it could work. Maybe it'll work. Who knows? Yeah. But in my personal business, the way I feed my family is with real people. And I like to talk to real people.
And I think it's not only that, you're a performance model. It's more a sales model, right? I feel like the AI works very well for customer service, right? That's where it has more value than it does with sales. Sales is emotion. Retention. That emotion is what draws a person to say, yeah, we fall in love with wise boisterous, whatever the hell you want to call it, because of emotion, right? So I feel like that emotion is what you get from a live person on the phone. And again, maybe they do change that. I think that's going to take a while. So that's why I think that at the end of the day, I think that you're fine. People like me are fine. But who knows? Who knows where it's going to go with this sort of thing? But yeah, I agree. That's a good example.
And look, if it changes in 10 years, do you want to be working in 10 years? Like,
Yeah,
right,
that's true.
we're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
old. So like, like, let the next generation deal with the AI
they
stuff.
they
But
adapt. Yeah.
listen, does it keep you up at night a little bit? The AI
Not really.
doesn't.
No, it doesn't at all.
Yeah, it keeps.
I mean, it's good to know. I know what's going on. I'm always on top of stuff or what's happening, and anything we adapt at the end of the day. That's what we're talking about. People going from one vertical to another. You know, once you know how to sell, once you know how to media buy, you don't just gotta be stuck in one box. There's other boxes you can get into, and then most of the boxes aren't going to work when you flip them over. But when you find the one that works, you press the gas on. Hopefully, get 2 or 3 that work. I did this shit years ago. I started senior direct marketing. Right, I merged with Ed Payne, connecting the dots. So like we got all this different stuff going on. I'm still doing that shit to this day. I was talking offline about some stuff with you that's fucking working for me right now. Thank God, because solar started going the other way. It doesn't look like it's getting better. Now I got a whole new vertical popping all the fucking sudden out of nowhere. I got a buyer ready to do $1 million a month with me right now. I was just talking to him earlier. I'm freaking pumped. But you got to try other boxes, right? But once you have that skill set, you're always gonna be okay. So I feel like people like us, hopefully everyone watching this show, just work on your skills. You always were a good people person. That will help you get into the industry and attract good people, attract good clients, right? So as long as you work on yourself, you're always going to be fine, and you adapt. Fuck it. A few years from now, we might be pitching AI, right? You don't
100%.
know.
I have my own AI company in a couple of years. And I always tell my wife the same thing. I got to be at the shows. You got to be at the shows.
Yeah,
you
gotta
never
be there,
know.
man.
You never know what you'll find there.
Yeah.
Right? You never know what you'll find there, because
Yeah.
the guys that started marketing ACA first, all those guys are retired now.
Yeah.
The first ones are the ones that really kill it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's probably guys that came into ACA 2 years ago, 2 months ago, and dumped a lot of money and didn't even get paid on their invoices.
They call it the top is what it is.
You gotta catch the wave.
Yeah, you gotta catch the wave. Speaking of shows, that's what last year we were in. Was it Barcelona? A year ago, exactly. It's funny because one of my buddies, he's like, I don't know, I'm not going to go out and blah, blah, blah. He wound up going out. Then I saw you and I connected you guys. It was at a party, whatever. You guys connected. Now you guys are making a lot of money together, right? And that's the beauty. That's why you got to show up, man. And that's why I'm always out there. I'm always traveling, because I know that 90% of the time when I travel, I make a fucking connection that moves the needle, right? And it might not happen right away. It might take fucking a couple months. It might take a year. It might take 3 years, but it fucking happens eventually. And you keep in touch. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
that's a good example.
It's a great example. And to furthermore that connection that I made with one of my biggest partners right now is that you're not even gonna. That wasn't at the show.
Yeah,
that was at the club.
Yeah, that was at the club. Exactly.
Right? That was at the club. Right. So
yeah,
listen. I go to the shows. I walk the floor.
Yeah.
Do I wear a suit? Dude, sometimes I'm so banged up on those shows, right? I barely even make it out because Vegas, the time difference. You know me. I'm up at 6 a.m. every single day in Vegas because I got to be in my morning meeting. Why do you go to your morning meeting? Because I need to be there for my team.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Oh, you're BC level. Let them do it. No. If I'm not there, I have a bad feeling that something goes wrong, and it usually goes wrong when I'm at conferences because I'm not in my office, and that's the way I run my business. But I personally believe that the best connections are made in a nightclub, in the food court, outside the conference. The conference is, there's a lot of employees there, right? It's hard to pick out who runs the company. You got to get the CMO, right? So when you walk the floor, my advice to a lot of people that me and my friends always talk about is never actually talk to the suits. Always look at the guy that's like wearing a hoodie that's beside the suits, because there's probably a higher chance that the guy in the hoodie actually makes the choices and the decisions. That's like what we always laugh about.
Yeah. Great advice. Yeah, trade shows, working the trade shows properly is a must. A lot of people don't know how to do it. They just don't know. But I think being that people person and identifying, I feel like one thing we have in common, we smell the opportunity, right? And that's why you can spot out that guy in the sweatshirt or whatever. That's the guy. Like, you'll know that, right? And that's what I'm trying to get my team to do. But it's hard, man. It's something that's like an instinct. You just get it.
Yeah, and also you have to also understand to yourself and always believe that it's hard to even believe, but I'm 34 years old, right? I was born in 1990, right? In your head you're always young, you always feel that way, like you're always young.
Yeah.
But bro, you walk that floor, all right, and the people you meet, like for example, Cody,
Yeah.
right? Cody's like one of my best friends now, right? But we met in the industry. You know, I don't even think he's 26, 27.
For real?
Years old. Yeah, he's
Oh,
young.
wow.
Or no, sorry. He was at that time. He's younger than me though.
Yeah.
He maybe just turned 30, maybe he's 29, whatever
Yeah.
it is, right? He's 4 years younger than me, bro.
Yeah.
He gives me advice every single day.
I love it.
And I listen to him. You know why I listen to him? Because he has 3 partners and he has 500 agents and he has a massive, massive business. So just because he's young, just because somebody's younger than you, you cannot think that your years gave you wisdom. That's not real.
100%.
Because there's kids out here streaming online and they make $1 million a day.
Yeah.
And they're 22 years old and they don't even know what the hell Medicare is.
Yeah.
Right? So you gotta open up in this industry. You gotta be adaptable. The whole model of this podcast, I feel like we've been talking about a lot, is being adaptable. You gotta adapt to your circumstances.
100%. Fucking great advice. Amazing stuff you're talking about. Last thing I want to talk to you about is Miami. You moved from Toronto to Miami, right? I moved here. How's Miami treated you?
So Miami's incredible. I love Miami. I miss home, right? I miss Toronto at the end of the day, right? You grew up there. You always feel it. But Miami happened because David Brooke. David Brooke came down here in like 2021, 2022, whatever it was. And he's in Sunny Isles. And he's like, bro, he's like, I love it here. I'm like, I'm coming to Miami. It'll help my business. Fuck it. I'm coming to Miami. Packed everything up. We went to Miami. We got a condo. And then I seen you at the beach.
Yeah.
We had a meeting at the beach. You came for vacation.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way I think I helped you kind of make that final push here.
Yeah, for sure. It helped.
Right?
My wife was with me too, said it helped too.
Yeah, because I don't know, bro. You only live once.
Yeah.
Why not live on the beach?
Yeah.
It's humid in the summer. All right, go to Hoboken, bro. Go to Jersey in the summer, right? My wife and the kids and me are gonna go to Toronto in a couple of weeks. You know, my kids are in school now. Yeah. I made it home. I'm not a big like political guy. I don't care about that stuff. But I do feel a difference here, just of the way of life. Yeah. I was born Jewish. I practice myself Jewish. I practice, I don't practice being Jewish. I don't do I try to be a good person at the end of the day. But Toronto, there's a lot of racism going on these days.
It's crazy. It's hard to believe that, right?
Hard to believe, right? Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's like posters and shit on the wall. And I was living downtown. And I lived at St. Regis. So I was like, oh, there's like protests going on. And like walking with my kid, it's a little bit uncomfortable. And like, even though like my CMO is he's not Jewish. He's Muslim, or because we all grew up together. We all love each other no matter what. I just feel like Miami. I feel like Miami. It feels like back in the day. Yeah. You get that feeling when you walk through Aventura Mall. Oh, yeah. You ever get that feeling like you're like, this reminds me of like my local mall when I was a kid, right? Yeah.
And there's a you know what I feel like, and there's a lot of. It's easier to penetrate networks here. Like I love New York. I love Jersey. That's my home. But it's hard, like people. It's more like it's harder to penetrate. These circles are tighter. Over here, man. I'm like downstairs yesterday. I see a big influencer down there. I've been trying to get with the guy. Got his number. He's texting me. It's easier to get in those circles, and people want to be around people with that energy and that entrepreneurship. And I feel like this is like the next New York is what it is. Like New York is always going to be around. Don't get me wrong, but this is where it's all flocking to for that reason, because it's more. First of all, the tax climate, the political climate, like you talked about, the weather, all this stuff. So it makes a lot of sense. So I was curious how it was for you, because for me, it's been good, man, especially with this show. I mean, the number of freaking podcasting going on here. We're about to open up a podcast studio. I mean, it's freaking great. Yeah.
And you have to understand too, like, bro, it's like 2024, bro. Like if you want to go to New York, or you go to New York a couple times a week, I'm in New York once a month minimum. Yeah. Get on a plane. There's 1 million flights a day. You get on a plane, 2.5 hours, you're there. Yeah. You want to leave, you can leave anytime you want. You walked into the airport, you buy a ticket at the airport if you want, or your app. You're in and out, right? I think being based in Miami is probably the best place you could be based nowadays. I agree. Other than like a Dallas. Mm-hmm. Dallas is kind of slow for me. I'm Toronto and New York are very similar. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you know that. So like I need to have quick. And I feel like Miami gives you that as well. It's quick here.
No, you get that.
Traffic's kind of slow, but
just the drivers though. That left lane fucking drives me nuts, man.
They don't know how to drive here.
People go slow in the left lane. Are you kidding me, man?
They don't know how to drive here.
That's the issue.
They don't know the rules yet. Yeah, but there's enough New Yorkers here. I think you honk at them You know, but you gotta be careful here because these guys
You
have
got the
guns.
gun.
And shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yo, the road rage here is crazy, bro. If you get into road rage, you could literally get shot.
Yeah,
If you guys watch the news, bro,
Yeah,
people get shot here in road rage because everybody has a gun.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I'm kind of getting used to. Like, okay, you can't freak out on the thing. You can't throw coffee at somebody's car.
Yeah.
They will shoot you. For
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. You can do that in New York and whatever.
Yeah.
Worst thing, you get into a fist fight over here. Like you might lose your life,
you
bro.
might lose your life over that.
Yeah.
But I love Miami. It's home now. And this past month, I went to Toronto, and it was the first time I landed in Toronto, and I didn't have that feeling where like I'm home.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
when I land in Miami now, I get that feeling like
Yeah.
I'm home.
Yeah.
Get in the car, I'm going to my family. My kids are there. You know.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
That
that
happened to
feeling.
me recently too. That's funny, man.
Okay.
I didn't even think about that. Like
Where did you land?
I landed in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah,
You know, to
me too.
drive home, I'm home, you know, and for the first few months, it was like kind of weird, man.
Yeah. Anyone lives in Miami, I'll give you the rules. All right, that's what you
Yeah.
got to do, right? Because we live in the same neighborhood.
Mm.
If you live in like our neighborhood, in like North Miami, let's just say,
Mm.
if you're driving to the airport and you're parking there, you got to fly out of Fort Lauderdale because you could get valet there for 40
Oh,
bucks,
yeah. It's a great, yeah.
right? And you get in your car and leave. If you're taking an Uber to the airport, you got to fly out of Miami. Because if you fly out of Fort Lauderdale and you land home and you try to get an Uber, it's taking
nightmare.
30 minutes. They
Yeah, it's a
keep going
nightmare.
on that loop.
Yeah.
So the rule is Uber,
To
Miami
Miami.
International. If you want a valet, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And the best part is about Sunny Isles is they're both the same distance.
Yeah.
They're both 25 minutes away. The best.
It's great. That was a great location. Good stuff. Anything else that we didn't touch upon? You want to?
Yeah, pitchperfectsolutions.com. I take every call. Doesn't matter if you're, if
How'd
you're
you come up with the name Pitch Perfect? I meant to ask you that.
Pitch Perfect Solutions. Call center. We're pitching. It's perfect. I think Stan did it. I mean,
Yeah,
Stan,
that's a good
we're shooting
name.
shit. That's a good name, right?
Yeah.
People get confused with the movie. There's like 7 of those movies now.
Uh-huh.
So pitchperfectsolutions.com. Bigger client, I don't mind. Little client, I don't mind. You need data. You need a buyer, and you need to believe in the partnership. And you need to have the right to dial your data. Do not call me if you do not have opt-ins to dial data. Everyone I work with indemnifies me fully. If I call your lead 100 times a day and I get a TCPA complaint, that's on me. I get that. I'm doing something wrong. But I need to have consent to dial that lead because any lawsuit that comes from me dialing that lead has nothing to do with me.
I'm glad you mentioned that, and I meant to touch upon that earlier because there's a lot of freaking cowboys out there. They try to do that shit with me too, or they'll try to sell me bullshit data. We have a whole compliance department. We audit stuff. We turn away a lot of people because of that, So, and especially on LinkedIn, I get so many damn requests, man. And 99% of people, we worked with a lot of people. We audit them. They come up. Then we get in trouble. We lose clients. It's a reputation business, right? So I'm glad you mentioned that. And listen, guys, I wouldn't put anyone on the show if I didn't know they were the real. If I couldn't vouch for them and they weren't the real deal. Boris is the real deal. I've known you for many, many years. I've worked with you. I've sent you referrals. They all love you, man. And you run a tight ship, man. So
Appreciate it a lot.
that's
Thank
what
you
it
so
comes
much for
down to,
everything.
man.
Thank you
Let's
so much.
fucking go,
Let's go, baby.
Good
Let's
having you on
fucking
the
go.
show, man.
Solar Direct. Let's go.
Let's go, man. Good
Love
shit.
that.